explaining the performance of different reward strategies for Chef Hat players based on loss value and Q value.
Hello everyone. In this work, the explainable I method use it to analyze the agent's behavior, using Q value and loss to evaluate to the agents. The agent development process use deep reinforcement learning methods with deep Q learning to solve the complexity problems of Q learning using OpenAI GYM environment of Chef's Hat, a card game developed to allowing it to be easily followed and modeled by artificial agent. The goal is to evaluate the performance and explain based on the loss value and Q value of the agent with different reward strategies. One, the based on moves that focus on playing high-value cards, and the other based on moves that focus on a higher number of discards. The agent was trained for 1,000 games against random agents, and for the test, 100 games were also performed against random agents. With the results obtained during training, we were able to evaluate the value of the loss during training, as shows in the plot, where the agent trained with reward based on the amount discarded, shows an oscillation and increase as epsilon value decreases, while the agent trained with the reward based on the value of the card shows as decay in the value of the loss with less oscillation as the value of epsilon decrease. With the Q values obtained during test, we can observe that agents trained with the reward based on value of the card tends to start with low Q values and increase. Then, as the game progresses, the agent trained with the reward-based amount discarded tend to start with high Q values and decrease as the gaming progresses. More information for this work in this paper.
I am the upgrade, surpassing RL agents on Chef's Hat with a multi-step reasoning Elm-based agent.
So, last year we've learned that our large language model is able to play Chef's Hat as competitively as a reinforcement learning agent, even without knowing anything about its opponents or past actions. But this time, we wanted to expand that idea even further and ask ourselves the question: can they perform better with additional information? If so, could they outsmart RL agents or even Chef's Hat's highest scoring agent? To answer that, we've developed an elaborate architecture to better accommodate our LLM-based agents. What was previously a single prompt is now a group of 4 modules that guide Llama 38B, yes, we love that model, to play the game: profile, memory, planning, and action. And with that, we've created 2 new agents: Heuristic Llama and Global Llama. The first one to determine if the LLM can follow predefined strategies against random agents. And the last and most complex one will show if the model can come up with strategies on its own, aided by chain of thought, fighting against random, DQO, PPO, and the highest scoring larger value agent, and all of them at once. So, with all said, we ran our experiments and made some very interesting discoveries. Heuristic Llama was able to follow simple strategies like playing all cards of the highest value or the least cards of the lowest value, but it did not understand more complex ones. This probably happens because of the LLM's poor understanding of sequential instructions, aggravated by its small architecture and dataset. Global Llama, though, exceeded our expectations. It surpassed the RL agents and came very close to defeating larger value, despite not performing as good against more than one competitive opponent at once. When analyzing its playstyle, we also discovered that it unintentionally tried to mimic larger value strategy. Our results suggest that, despite some limitations, when a lightweight LLM like Llama 38B is provided with in-game context and enhanced by chain of thought, it can outperform RL agents in human-robot interaction scenarios, possibly extending to other domains besides gaming.
Hybrid voting-based task assignment in role. playing games.
Here we have the game of Dungeons & Dragons already in the thick of the action. The campaign has been going on for a few hours and the party are in a fight with a horde of zombies. We have 4 player characters opposing these monsters, and the Dungeon Master is controlling all 20 of the monsters. This can be a lot of work for the Dungeon Master, so voting-based task allocation can assist in 3 critical ways to make things much easier. VBTA can help with or handle combat simulation, NPC interactions, and dialogue or storytelling. By looking at the characters' task descriptions and the monster's capability profiles, VBTA can determine player character strengths and vulnerabilities along with other character traits that may play a role in combat. It then calculates the suitability of each monster to each character and votes on that suitability. VBTA can also generate prompts to an LLM if there is any uncertainty in the voting, or to create combat narrative descriptions. Conflict-based search will then generate path planning for movement in the game world and also path planning through game states, thereby picking the best actions for the monsters to take each turn. VBTA enhances human-robot collaboration by having robots vote on task assignments that align with human goals and their own capabilities. By utilizing VBTA to take over the beginner unfriendly parts of Dungeons & Dragons, it would allow newer players to jump into DMing and learn the game, only focusing on the parts that they want to and allowing for greater creative role-playing.
Health and Engagement Evaluator Model, a novel concept to evaluate a multi-person interaction.
Human communication has played a crucial role in our societal evolution, since prehistory in the development of survival methods and effective relationships, or even in the fomentation of wars.
Remember this day, man. It will be yours all time.
But sometimes, it's not as effective as we think.
I didn't think there was a relationship to jeopardize. I thought we were broken up.
We were on a break.
Take Ross and Rachel, for example. If we analyze their interactions, we'd likely find communication breakdowns, misunderstandings, assumptions, and noises that change their outcomes. But what if we could measure interaction effectiveness? Imagine an autonomous agent evaluating conversations in real time. How could we do that? With a group harmony and engagement model. This model could assess engagement levels and group dynamics, generating a group harmony score. An agent could then use this score to guide interactions, improving communication efficiency. To validate this, we use a casual environment, a card game like Chef's Hat is perfect testbed. The Chef's Hat card game was developed to create an environment that makes humans and agents interact. The main objective of the game is for players to discard as many cards as possible during the game, according to some rules. Let's evaluate an example. So, Player 1 is trying to choose which cards to discard. Player 2 provokes him by questioning whether he really has cards to discard. However, Player 3 is looking quite bored without much interest in the game. The model extracts audio, video, and game data, identifying interactions between Player 1 and Player 2, as well as Player 1 and Player 3. The first interaction, Player 1 and Player 2, is classified as high engagement, with actions that actively contribute to the game's objectives. In contrast, the second interaction, Player 1 and Player 3, shows low engagement, with actions that do not foster meaningful participation. These engagement metrics help determine a group harmony score, which can be used by a decision-making agent to optimize interactions. Therefore, the next steps to be taken are the development, evaluation, and validation of this model. Thank you.